Some come to drink, some come to fight, some come to find love for the night. Some come to lay their groove on down. Some come to get lost, some come to get found. Me, I don't know what it is.
Well, welcome back to part 3 of the Porch Sessions in Meridian, Mississippi with Steve Wilkerson. Man, that was a great tune. Thank you, man. I really appreciate you playing that for us. One of the things that you and I were talking about earlier was what I find so interesting about the South in general. Again, I know I'm harping on the South today. I guess it's just because we're in Mississippi. So here we are, right?
170-year-old house.
Or in a 170-year-old house.
Yeah,
and there's crickets everywhere.
Yeah.
So, it's amazing to me how much spirituality plays a role in just life in general in the South, and how it kind of feeds itself into other parts of art and just art. I mean, you talked about it with the community and everyone all living together and not being able to yell at somebody at the grocery store because you're going to see them in church and things like that. And I'm not talking about sort of organized religion, spiritual. I'm just talking about just a general consciousness of life here. And I mean, how does that work into you with songwriting, or does it work with you in songwriting?
Well, like you said, most people in the South grew up singing in church. That's
Right.
where they first got their start. I mean, I sure did. And I can still remember being nervous, standing up there, I don't know what I was, 7 years old or 8 years old or whatever. But, yeah, it does permeate our society, through and through. To me, songwriting, one of the coolest aspects of it, and the thing that I think I enjoy as much as anything music-wise, is when you're working on a song, and you got the hook, you got the chorus, you fleshed out your verses and everything, and maybe you're just trying to finish up the second verse, or you're trying to put a bridge in there or something, and you where does it need to go? What needs to happen here? You just need that one piece of the puzzle, and from seemingly nowhere, it pops in your head. And where does that come from? You got a lot of people. The secular viewpoint of that as well. I mean, your brain's processing all the stuff you're thinking about, and somewhere over here in your subconscious, it's ginning up all these ideas, and it just takes it from this file over here and it puts it over in your conscious file, and then okay. And I mean, maybe that's the way it works. I don't know, but to me, when that moment happens, and that idea pops in your head that's perfect, that completes what you've been working on, and you don't know where it came from, I always say thank you.
Right, man. Right.
And I don't know who I'm. I think I know who I'm saying thank you to, but I mean, I'm just saying I don't know where that comes from, but it don't feel like it came from me, and that's. To me, that's the coolest thing about songwriting, when that moment happens.
It's kind of floating around out here in the ether somewhere, or in the ground, and you just become a vehicle for it. You just grab it, channel it somehow. Yeah, so
it's a fun thing.
It is
to be able to be a part of that.
Yeah. Well, I really feel it being in this house. I'm like, I really feel like all the energy and all the. Imagine how many stories were told in this 170-year-old house that we're in here in Meridian. It's like, there's some crazy stories in here. So,
yeah, you were saying a few minutes ago before we got on camera with, we need to have a writing session or something in here.
Be fantastic.
There ought to be a whole lot of things in here that would, soak through and jump in your head that might not elsewhere. This is an incredible place.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. I know the last song you're going to play is called what again?
Made in Mississippi.
Made in Mississippi, right. And so what I wanted to ask you is what does Mississippi mean to you?
Mississippi has taken its fair share of licks,
Yeah.
And some deservedly so. But we get a bad rap in a lot of ways, but there's two sides to that coin, and we've got a stereotype that is widely publicized. We also have a stereotype that if you're a musician or a writer or an artist from Mississippi and you go out, you got cred. You got street cred.
You're absolutely right.
Because people look at you differently. Because it's like, you know, you had some seeds and you scattered them out. This is the most fertile ground you're going to find, and they expect that there's something growing there that you won't find growing somewhere else. So to me, it's very important that aware of that, and that, you know, tote it and you know, take it a little bit further. You know, Made in Mississippi was a song I wrote. The idea popped in my head when I was planting pine trees, of all things. And
of course, that's what you do in Mississippi. You send to Mississippi to plant pine trees. Yeah, it's not enough of them.
I was digging in the dirt. Now, I don't recommend that as a songwriting method because it's bad on the back. Okay? But you're digging in the dirt, you know, and it just popped in my head. But it's in all the things that I know about Mississippi, and some of them that I haven't personally experienced, but you know, all of that just sort of seeped into the song. So, you know, to me, you know, I can't do any better at describing what it means to be from Mississippi than to write about it. And that's what this song's about.
Cool, man. Yeah. Well, man, thank you. I appreciate you being on here, man. Appreciate you setting this all up, and looking forward to hearing this song. And if you ever need anything from us, let us know. So,
well, thank you all for coming.
Dude, thank you, man. Thank you.
Great experience.
Steve Wilkerson on the Porch Sessions, and look forward to seeing more of you, man.
All right.
Take care.
Thank you, man.
Made in Mississippi, like a glass of grandma's sweet tea. One taste is all it takes to know where I'm from. I learned the blues, soaked up the gospel at a crossroad tent revival. Picked cotton through the heat of a Delta sun. Felt that muddy water running, heard old Jimmy Rogers strumming with a train whistle blowing harmony. This kudzu's wrapped around my soul, so it can't help but show that, hey, I'm made in Mississippi. Ooh, if you wind your way down 61, climb a levee and watch that river run, yeah. Still the wind across the soybean field. Eat a catfish fried and fresh cornmeal. You might know a little bit about how I feel. Yeah, when I say I'm made in Mississippi, like a batch of good corn whiskey. One taste is all it takes to know where I'm from. I learned the blues, soaked up the gospel at a crossroad tent revival. Picked cotton through the heat of a Delta sun. Felt that muddy water running, heard old Robert Johnson strumming with a steamboat blowing harmony. This kudzu's wrapped around my soul, so it can't help but show that, hey, I'm made in Mississippi. Yes, I am. Toward the hills, past where the mighty Choctaw lives. You see a combine made out of rust, pine trees growing where a cornfield was. I'll be standing where the good Lord touched, y'all, 'cause I'm made in Mississippi, like a batch of good corn whiskey. One taste is all it takes to know where I'm from. I learned the blues, soaked up the gospel at a crossroad tent revival. Picked cotton through the heat of a Delta sun. Felt that muddy water running, heard the king himself strumming with a hound dog howling harmony. Yeah. This kudzu's wrapped around my soul, so it can't help but show Mississippi. Made in Mississippi.